Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. The forbidden signal that activated humanity's Doomsday Protocol. Commander Erin Leyland stood on the bridge of the horizon, her gaze locked on the shimmering tapestry of stars before her. 20 years of deep space exploration had taught her that the universe was vast, cold, and often indifferent. Yet nothing had prepared her for the anomaly now pulsing on their sensors. Lieutenant Cellini Cross hovered beside the communications console, fingers dancing over translucent controls. Signal magnitude is off the charts, Cellini reported quietly, and it's using quantum encryption we've never cataloged. Aaron's heart thudded. Source. Beyond the Sargas Ridge, 70 light-years out. No charted systems for 50 light-years around. Scientist Vero Maida, eyes rimmed with exhaustion, joined them. Initial translation suggests an alien distress beacon, but interlaced with warnings. Warnings, Aaron pressed. Vero nodded, voice grave. It speaks of harvesters that consume worlds, something about a guardian that only Earth could awaken. Aaron exchanged a look with Selene. Earth knew nothing of these harvesters or this guardian. Standard protocol demanded she hold position and await orders, but curiosity and duty to protect humanity pulled her in another direction. Open a secure channel to Home Command, Aaron ordered. Seconds later, Admiral Rizam Mandel appeared on the main viewer, face creased with concern. Commander Leyland, Mandel said, you are to hold position. Further investigation is unauthorized. We're dispatching a specialist vessel. Admiral, Aaron replied, choosing her next words carefully, that vessel won't arrive for weeks, and by then the signal source could vanish. This might be Earth's only warning. Mandel's expression hardened. Understood, maintain position, do not investigate. Aaron's jaw clenched. She had spent her career following orders, but she had never abandoned a potential threat. The bridge crew watched in tense silence. Commander, Selene said softly, the crew trusts you. Aaron turned to First Officer Dante Cade. Prepare for jump, we go. Dante hesitated. Admiral's orders. I'll take full responsibility, Aaron interrupted. Ready the experimental drive, engage when set. Across the bridge, engineers scrambled. The horizon shuddered as the untested jump coils engaged. White lines of light stretched into streaks as space folded around them, propelling the ship toward the unknown. Moments later, the stars snapped back into focus, revealing a colossal form drifting in silence. The remains of an enormous spacecraft scarred by battle, its hull cracked and torn. Aaron's breath caught. Life signs, she asked. Minimal, Vero replied, staring at the readouts. But there are survivors. Aaron turned to Selene. Assemble a boarding party. Scientists bring data analysis gear. I want to know everything they know. They suited up and crossed the void in a slender shuttle. The alien ship's breach was jagged, forcing them to cut through twisted corridors. Emergency lights cast an eerie glow on strange glyphs etched into the walls. At the heart of the wreck, they found survivors. Tall, lean beings with silver-blue skin and luminous eyes clustered around failing life support pods. An alien with intricate markings stepped forward, its voice melodic yet urgent in their translator. You answered our call, the harvesters come, you must awaken the guardian. Aaron knelt, we intercepted your message, you spoke of a guardian, what is it? The alien's eyes rippled. Legends speak of Aegis, a power born on Earth hidden long ago, only it can stop the harvester's hunger. Another survivor handed Aaron a crystalline data module. This holds all we know, take it, save your worlds. Back on the horizon, Vero loaded the module. Preliminary scan indicates references to a classified human project dating from the late 20th century, Project Aegis. You've got our full attention, Aaron said, resolve hardening in her chest. Set course for Earth, we carry the last hope of more than one civilization. As the shuttle glided back aboard, Aaron looked out the viewport at the distant blue dot. The weight of her decision pressed on her, defy her orders, risk everything and chase a signal that could spell doom. Yet she would not turn away. Humanity's fate and that of countless others now depended on the forbidden signal, and on Aaron Leyland's courage to answer it. The horizon dropped out of jump space to reveal a vast field of debris drifting in silent orbit. Shards of hull plates, tangled metal beams, and shattered energy conduits floated around a great skeletal frame, the Ark of the Zellan Confederation. Commander Aaron Leyland stared at the wreckage through the viewport. The ship had once been a living embodiment of Zellan unity, now reduced to hollow remnants. Life sign clusters ahead, Lieutenant Selene Cross reported, her voice barely above a whisper. Approximately 200 survivors concentrated near the central hull breach. Aaron nodded. Prepare the boarding shuttle. Engineer Kairos Volan, you're with me. Archaeologist Imani Akoy, you're in command of the rescue team. The shuttle lowered through the debris field, thrusters flaring to steady their descent. Each collision with drifting wreckage sent jolts through the hull, setting alarms chirping. Outside, the Ark's bulk loomed larger, its curved architecture broken and splintered. Lighting was intermittent. Emergency glow lamps flickered in pale blue, casting long shadows across grave corridors. Inside the Ark, the air was thin but breathable. The survivors huddled in an enormous chamber with arched walls carved from an iridescent mineral. They looked gaunt, their silver-blue skin dulled by exhaustion. The moment Aaron and her team entered, a hush fell. Aaron stepped forward, offering a calm smile. I am Commander Aaron Leyland of the Earth vessel Horizon. We come to help you. She gestured to Varo Maida, who lifted the crystalline data module. We carry the data your people sent. An Elden Zelen scholar approached. Her skin shimmered pale green and her eyes held both grief and relief. I am Kalira, she said, her voice echoing off the chamber walls. The harvesters hunted us without mercy. We escaped, but only a few of us remain. Imani Akoy knelt beside a small cluster of survivors, scanning them with a handheld biosensor. No immediate life-threatening injuries, she reported. But many are weak and dehydrated. We need medical stations set up here. Kairos Volan tapped his wrist console. I've deployed portable med units. They'll stabilize most of them, but until we get them to the horizon, they'll need supplemental oxygen. Aaron turned back to Kalira. We'll move you all to our ship, but first we need your archive logs, your data crystal. Kalira produced a second, smaller crystal and handed it to Varo. This contains our full historical records of the harvesters. It may help you understand how to fight them. Varo took it carefully, eyes shining. Thank you. Combining this with your distress module will give us a complete picture. While scientists set up scanning arrays and medical pods, Aaron led a small team deeper into the Ark. They navigated through corridors etched with Zelen script and symbols of unity, interlocked circles and flowing arcs. The air grew colder as they descended to what once had been the Ark's command nexus. There, holographic projectors hovered above a broken console, playing looped images of planetary devastation. Sleek worlds vanished in flashes of crimson, entire fleets obliterated by arrow-shaped ships. This is what they do, Selene murmured, voice trembling. They consume everything valuable, leaving only emptiness. The images flickered and went dark. Aaron felt a pang of dread. She placed a hand on the consoles. May your world survive where ours has fallen, Kalira whispered, touching Aaron's arm. Aaron nodded, voice firm. We will honor your hope. With its desperate boarding complete, the Ark's structure gave a final shudder. The phasing field collapsed, and the corridor they'd entered twisted shut in a spray of sparks. The Ark lapsed into silence, its final secret lost to the void. Back aboard the Horizon, nearly 200 Zelen floated weightless in rows of medical bays, breathing easier under Earth med units. Aaron stood on the bridge, watching as Kalira and her people offered what aid they could to their hosts. Varo approached, holding both data crystals. We've combined your records. The harvesters use adaptive technology, they learn and evolve. Our only chance lies in Project Aegis, the guardian they fear. Aaron took a deep breath. We head home immediately, plot a course for Earth. Selene nodded, jump prep underway, but we'll need to evade the harvester scouts trailing us. Then we'll fight or hide, Aaron said, gaze steeled. Whatever it takes. As the Horizon powered its experimental drive, the wreck of the Zelen Ark drifted behind them, a silent monument to courage and sacrifice. Two civilizations bound by fate now raced toward Earth's distant blue horizon, carrying secrets that could either doom humanity or become its salvation. And as the stars stretched into lines once more, Aaron felt the weight of every life aboard her ship, and the fragile hope they carried for the galaxy's final stand. Commander Aaron Leyland stood in the science lab as scientist Varo Maida and Lieutenant Selene Cross worked feverishly at the data console. The two Zelen crystals glowed softly as Varo merged their contents into a unified archive. Aaron watched as lines of code and holographic schematics filled the air above the console, projecting a digital map of Earth's solar system and a buried facility in the Arctic. This is Project Aegis, Varo murmured, a defensive system humanity built decades ago and then concealed. The revelation sent a shiver through Aaron's spine. They had to reach it before the harvesters arrived. The horizon drifted just outside Earth's system. Selene tapped her console, tracing a trajectory that would carry them over the North Pole. "We'll enter high orbit in 3 hours," she reported. "Then we'll drop through ionosphere and glide to the coordinates." Aaron nodded, knowing those 3 hours might be their last. Outside the lab's viewport, distant dots of light flickered on the long-range sensor, harvester probes converging on their position. The enemy was closing fast. First Officer Dante Cade entered, face drawn. "Commander, our fuel reserves are low. We used more than expected on the last jump. If we push the engines, we risk damaging the horizon." Aaron let out a sigh of frustration. They needed every drop of fuel to keep ahead of the harvesters, yet they had to survive re-entry. "Allocate all power to the primary drive," she ordered. "Selene, run the numbers. Can we make it?" Selene's eyes scanned the screens. "With an optimal glide, yes. But we'll be cutting it within a 20-minute margin." Below them, the Zellan survivors huddled in medical bays. Most lay unconscious, weakened by exposure and trauma. Archaeologist Imani Akoy and engineer Kairos Volan moved among the beds, comforting the injured and adjusting life support straps. Imani approached Aaron in the lab. "Commander, the Zellan want to help," she said quietly. "They believe their ancient archives can aid the activation sequence for Aegis." Aaron considered. The Horizon crew already carried the crystals, but if the Zellan could provide additional context or missing code fragments, it might speed the process. "Arrange a secure hololink," Aaron replied. "Connect Kalira in real time. I want her guidance once we reach the vault." The archaeologist nodded, rushing to make the connection. Within minutes, a hologram of Kalira, tired but resolute, appeared. "We will prepare what we can," the Zellan scholar said. "Our records mention an activation key hidden in the Destructor's glyph chamber. It must match the vault's neural interface." Aaron stored the information, resolving to translate it during descent. On the bridge, Vero and Selene monitored the incoming probes. Small arrowhead vessels, black as void, streaked through space. Their red cores pulsed with ominous light. Selene's voice trembled. "They're too fast. If they maintain burn, they'll reach us in 90 minutes. Aaron leaned forward. "Prepare countermeasures." The bridge crew armed the Horizon's point defenses, lightning-fast railguns and particle beams. Each weapon could disable a probe, but at the cost of precious energy and heat buildup. Alarms blared. The first Harvester scout dropped out of slipspace less than 1,000,000 kilometers away. Its sensors scanned the horizon, searching for life signatures. Aaron's hand hovered over the weapon's override. "Fire," she commanded. Bright tracers lanced into space, striking the scout. The vessel trembled, crackling with energy, then exploded in a silent bloom of debris. The bridge exhaled relief, but the next probe had already appeared, and another after that. Each shot thinned their reserves. In the lab, Selene checked navigation. "We lose another probe, then enter the atmosphere." Aaron nodded. "Initiate atmospheric entry sequence." Moments later, the Horizon's hull glowed as it plummeted toward Earth, thrusters flaring to control descent. The viewports glimmered with ionization clouds. Interior lights dimmed as power rerouted to the heat shields. The entire ship groaned under stress. Once through the upper layers, the Horizon transitioned to glide mode. Below, endless fields of white ice stretched toward the horizon. "Coordinates locked," Selene said. "Vault entrance 30 kilometers ahead." Aaron turned to Dante. "Prepare the drop team." The first officer saluted and left to muster specialists. Aaron tapped her comlink. "Kanira and Kim, suit up for ground insertion. Imani and Vero, prepare data relay for activation." As the Horizon skimmed the ice, Harvester probes trailed behind in silent pursuit, their red cores flickering ominously. Aaron watched them approach, a cold knot in her stomach. "We can't stay," she whispered. Dante returned. "Drop team ready." Aaron led the way through the airlock as the shuttle bay doors opened. Blizzard winds roared outside as they boarded the insertion shuttle. Inside, the engines fired and they dropped toward a fissure in the ice where the buried vault lay hidden. The shuttle slashed through driving snow, thrusters compensating for crosswinds. Below them, ground-penetrating radar had melted a crater, revealing a metal hatch half buried in ice. "There," Kim said, pointing. The shuttle touched down on cracked ice, skidding to a halt. Aaron and her team disembarked into sub-zero air. Each breath came in white puffs. The harvested probes formed dark shapes against the storm, closing fast. "Move," Aaron barked. They sprinted across hard ice, carrying the crystals and portable analysis gear. Behind them, probes lined up like vultures. As they reached the hatch, Imani activated a thermal charge. It sizzled against the frozen metal, melting the edges. Inside, steam drifted from vents as the vault doors ground open. "Inside now," Aaron shouted. They entered a narrow corridor illuminated by faint blue lights. The distant hum of harvester propulsion grew louder. Aaron gripped the crystal data module. "We've got one shot to wake Aegis." As they reached the central chamber doors, the hull vibrated with each enemy scout's distant propulsion. Aaron exchanged a determined glance with Dante. "Let's save the world." Deep within the Arctic vault, the fate of humanity and the galaxy hung in the balance, as harvester shadows closed in on their hidden hope. The massive steel doors ground open, revealing a cathedral-like chamber carved out of ice and rock. Beams of pale blue light traced rigid patterns along the walls, converging on a circular dais at the center. Around the dais stood dormant machinery, towering pylons of alien design latticed with human-made control panels. Dr. Enzo Tam, the cyber-neurosurgeon, stepped forward, awe in his eyes. "This is it," he breathed. "Project Aegis." Behind him, historian Raquel Munro studied faded murals etched into the ice. They depicted an ancient alliance between humans and Zelen, binding their strength in one guardian. Her finger traced a scene of a towering figure, half machine, half living being bathed in radiant light. "They always called it the Titan," Raquel said softly, "but the Zelen named it Aegis." Commander Aaron Leyland stood at the dais, flanked by Selene Cross and engineer Kairos Volin. Vero Maida and Imani Akoy carried the two Zelen data crystals, their facets glowing softly. Dante Cade monitored the shuttle link overhead, where the horizon lay waiting beyond the icy expanse. "We have 10 minutes before the probes reach our location," Selene reported, voice taut. "They're cutting through the ice at hypersonic speed." Aaron surveyed the chamber. "We need to sync the crystals and launch the neural interface," she said. "Dr. Tam, you're our key. Only someone trained in neural surgery can link to this." Enzo nodded, pulling on specialized bioneural gloves. "I'll connect through these interface tendrils," he said, indicating cables coiled around a support arm. "They'll read my neural patterns and apply the activation sequence." Raquel joined him, holding an ancient Zelen script. "The code requires a mental keyphrase," she explained. "In Zelen, it's unity beyond stars. You must think it as you connect." The fostered scientists bent to the control panels. Vero slotted the Zelen distress crystal into a crystalline slot on the dais. Imani inserted the archive crystal on the opposite side. Wires snaked from the dais to the alien pylons, which hummed to life, pulsing with blue luminescence. "Systems powering up," Vero announced. "But we need the neural bridge." Enzo took a deep breath and sat in a sculpted chair at the dais center, the organic-looking arms extended, bristling with slender probes. He grimaced as the cold metal met his skin, then settled his mind. "Ready," Enzo said quietly. "Initiate," Aaron ordered. The probes dipped into Enzo's temples, sending a shimmer through his scalp. His eyelids fluttered as the interface calibrated to his brainwaves. A soft voice echoed in his mind, ancient, melodic, and distant. It spoke in Zelen, then translated, "Identify the Guardian." Dr. Tam whispered, "Unity beyond stars," his voice trembling. The tendrils glowed green, then blue as the dais lights deepened. A low vibration filled the chamber and the walls shuddered. "I'm getting feedback," Enzo murmured. "The system is learning my neural patterns, it's adapting." Suddenly, a surge of energy burst from the pylons. Wires hummed and glowed, unlatching panels that slid aside to reveal hidden conduits. The conduits pulsed with living filament, like veins of light spreading along the floor and up the walls. "Structures are reconfiguring," Vero said, voice urgent. "The vault is alive." On the bridge of the horizon, Selene watched the incoming probe count tick down. 4 minutes, she warned. "We need that activation." Within the chamber, Enzo's head snapped forward, eyes wide and unseeing. His body stiffened as the system completed the neural handshake. A brilliant sphere of light blossomed above the dais, filling the room with a cerulean glow. Along the chamber's perimeter, alien panels unfolded to reveal segments of a colossal lattice. The lattice rose, twisting into a humanoid form nearly 10 meters tall. Its proportions blended sleek machinery and fluid organic shapes. Two enormous wings of crystalline filaments arched behind its shoulders, casting prismatic light across the ice. "By all that is possible," Raquel whispered. Aaron raced forward and placed a hand on the lattice's ankle switch, a panel activated by touch. The Titan's form rippled, gears turning, as if drawing breath for the first time in centuries. Its eyes, two glowing orbs, flickered on. "Titan Aegis Online," Enzo announced, voice emerging from the neural link. His body relaxed and the probes withdrew gently as he slumped forward. Selene caught him before he fell, supporting his weight. Around them, the chamber hummed with energy as Aegis flexed its colossal arms. It reached down, brushing ice crystals from its armored chest plate. Then it turned its gaze toward the entrance, where faint red glows of harvester probes cut through the swirling snow. "We still have time to retreat?" Aaron asked, voice shaking with excitement. Vero checked his console. "Not enough. probes will penetrate this vault in 90 seconds. Aaron met Seleni's eyes. We hold them off from here, she drew her sidearm, get ready. On the icy slope outside, the probes hovered, scanning for heat signatures. Then they fired twin beams of red light, precursor shots to energy lances. The beams struck the entrance, igniting frozen mist into steam. But Aegis moved first. Stepping off the dais, it crushed the nearest probe beneath its foot, splitting the hull like paper. With a sweep of its right arm, it unleashed a pulse of electromagnetic energy that ripped through two more probes, sending them spiraling into fragments. Inside, the chamber vibrated with the force. Concrete floor plates cracked as Aegis advanced, each footstep leaving glowing lines etched into the ice. Aaron, Selene, and their team opened fire with portable pulse rifles to supplement the Titan's assault. Energy arcs whipped through the entrance, dispersing the probes in showers of sparks. "They're falling back," Vero cheered, scanning the consoles. Incoming harvester vessels shutting down pursuit. Over the roar of battle, Raquel stepped beside Aaron. "They feared Aegis," she said, voice awed. "It was enough to stop their advance." The last probe attempted a frantic retreat, but Aegis caught it in midair, squeezing it in its mechanical palm until it imploded in a burst of red plasma. The chamber went quiet. Steam curled in the entrance and the blast doors, bent but intact, sealed with a pneumatic hiss. Aegis lowered its head, sweeping its wings wide as if exhaling. An ethereal hum radiated from its core. Aaron approached cautiously, trembling. "Titan Aegis," she whispered. "Humanity thanks you." The Titan turned its gaze to her, eyes glowing with understanding. Then it extended a hand, vast in scale, toward the ceiling. Energy arcs leapt from its fingertips, sealing cracks and reinforcing support beams. Overhead lights flared to full power, banishing the last penumbra. In that moment, Commander Leyland understood. Upon this frozen stage, humanity's hidden guardian had awoken. No longer a legend buried in ice, Aegis now stood as a living testament to human resolve and Zellan collaboration. And as the storm raged outside, the vault, once a tomb, had become a beacon of hope. The final line of defense against the Harvester menace and the spark that would ignite humanity's greatest stand. The icy wind howled outside the vault as Titan Aegis completed its first salvos against the Harvester probes. Commander Aaron Leyland stood at the chamber's threshold, watching the Guardian's immense form ripple with power. The vaulted chamber walls had settled, and the reinforced blast doors held firm. Yet Aaron knew that the real battle lay beyond this frozen refuge. On the bridge of the horizon, Lieutenant Selene Cross monitored incoming Harvester scout ships. Despite Aegis's display of might, scouts continued to flock toward Earth. Each vessel carried scanning arrays that probed atmospheric layers, searching for any remaining human warships. Selene's knuckles whitened on the console. "Commander," she said over the comlink, "we're detecting 20 Harvester scouts converging on the Arctic perimeter. They'll reach the vault in minutes." Aaron turned to Dante Cade. "Dante, we need to buy Aegis more time, deploy the Interceptor Squadron and lay down a defensive ring around the vault." He nodded and activated the shuttle bay defenses. Through the viewport, she watched skiffs launch, sleek armed crafts carrying marine detachments and engineers. They arced toward the ice shelf, weapons primed. Below in the vault entrance, engineer Kairos Volan secured communication relays. The portable arrays hummed as they linked Titan Aegis's neural feedback to the Horizon's data nets. "We can coordinate strikes in real time," Kairos said, voice echoing in the chamber. "We'll maximize efficiency." Aaron nodded, grateful for every advantage. Dr. Enzo Tam, having recovered from the neural connection, approached Aaron, his eyes reflected awe. "The neural link still pulses," he said. "Aegis can anticipate threats faster than any system we've built." Aaron glanced at the Titan's towering silhouette, its crystalline wings glowing softly. Then let it lead the defense. Outside, the interceptor skiffs dove into swirling snow. Pulse cannons hissed, flaring to life, and energy beams lanced through the storm. Each shot shredded Harvester hulls, sending flaming debris into the ice. But for every scout destroyed, two more took its place. The ring held for now, but the Horizon's weapons reserves were draining. On the Horizon's bridge, Selene keyed the comlink. "Commander, weapons at 40% power, shields weakening." Aaron exhaled, heart pounding. "Divert all spare power to shields and interceptors. Dante, have them fall back to a defensive perimeter 5 kilometers from the vault. We regroup there." As the skiffs withdrew, sizzling plasma trails marked their retreat. They formed a ring of overlapping fire, giving Aegis breathing room. The vault entrance framed the scene. The Guardian stood like a sentinel, its immense fists pulsing with energy. Inside, Raquel Munro and Imani Akoy consulted ancient Zellan scripts. Raquel traced lines of glyphs on a frosted panel. These markings describe a secondary power surge, she said. If we channel the Zellan archive through Aegis's core, we can amplify its field maybe across the entire Arctic Circle. Imani nodded, studying the glyphs. But it will require shutting down non-essential systems to redirect power. Kairos joined them at the dais. We can sacrifice environmental controls for a short period, he said. The vault can handle freezing temperatures for a few minutes. Aaron approved immediately. Make it so, we need every advantage. Outside, the Harvester scouts regrouped in tight formation, their pulsing red cores glowing like warnings in the night. Then, unexpectedly, the storms parted. A beam of brilliant blue light shot from Aegis's chest plate, slicing upward through the falling snow. It struck the nearest scout, igniting its hull from within. The other scouts staggered, their energy fields flickering as though struck by an unseen force. Aaron turned to the control panels. It's working, Enzo said, studying the neural link readouts. Aegis is broadcasting an electromagnetic pulse, but it's tuned to predator patterns. Vero added, the Zellan archive identified the Harvester's own frequency signature. Aegis is using their technology against them. Aaron felt a surge of hope. Excellent. But the scouts recovered, their formations tightening. They fired back, red lances tearing through the swirling snow toward the vault. The outer blast doors buckled under the strain. Inside, the chamber walls vibrated with each impact. Pressure's rising, Raquel warned. We can't hold this much longer. Aaron gripped a support beam. Then we bring Aegis inside. She turned to Selene on the comlink. Selene, open the vault docking bay. We need Aegis under the roof. The ground tremor was barely perceptible as the vault's side wall slid open, revealing an enormous hangar carved into the glacier. Guardian Aegis stepped forward, crushing frost beneath its feet. Its wings folded naturally, and it turned toward the open door. With one mighty stride, it entered the hangar, dwarfed only by the cavern's width. Inside, overhead rails descended massive repair arms and support struts. Robotic maintenance drones whirred to life, calibrating around Aegis as it adjusted to the confined space. Energy conduits rerouted, forming a protective shell of shimmering blue shields around the Guardian. Outside, the Harvester scouts hurled everything they had at the hangar entrance. Energy bolts pounded the defenses, rocks and ice raining down. But Aegis, now shielded and free of full exposure, redirected energy through its limbs. Each strike it unleashed dispersed the enemy missiles before they could breach the hangar. On the horizon, Selene watched in awe. They're pulling back, she announced. The scouts are retreating beyond sensor range. Aaron allowed herself a small smile. Bring our people inside, we'll secure the perimeter. She turned back to the team in the vault. Good work, everyone, Aegis holds. Inside the hangar, Raquel approached the Titan's ankle where she and Imani had affixed additional Zellan glyph panels. Shall we activate the secondary field? She asked Dante. He nodded. Do it. Raquel keyed the glyph console and spoke the phrase in Zellan. Unity beyond stars. The glyphs glowed a radiant white and the vault's structural pylons pulsed in response. A wave of shimmering energy rolled outward, visible through thick ice walls engulfing the glacier for miles around. The snow and rock beneath it seemed to come alive, reinforcing the glacier's integrity and forming an energy barrier against external threat. Aaron watched via viewport as the Arctic horizon flickered with crystalline shields. Harvester probes slowed and then fled, no longer able to approach. She closed her eyes and breathed deeply. Humanity's doomsday protocol had become its salvation. The vault fell silent except for the hum of activated systems. Aegis stood motionless, its glowing eyes surveying the interior. Enzo removed his gloves, exhausted but triumphant. Project Aegis is fully online. Together, the crew and survivors shared a moment of quiet victory. Outside, storms swirled, but the protective field held firm. Inside, hope burned brighter than any red Harvester core. And deep within the vault, Titan Aegis remained ever watchful, humanity's greatest guardian reborn from ice and legend.